Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we're going to have a fun video taking a look at a couple of classic arcade games. Only thing is, even though both of these games originally came out in the early 80s, these are tabletop versions that came out 42 years apart. This one here is from 1982. I bought this when I was 14 years old. This is Donkey Kong, tabletop version. And then this one here came out from My Arcade. This is their version of Galaga. Now this one came out, I think, late 2023, early 2024. So we're going to take a look at a couple of differences between these two types of tabletop versions of the classic arcade games. So first up is the 1982 tabletop version of Donkey Kong. Now back in the day, around 1981, 82, I was delivering newspapers. I was a young teenager, 13, 14 years old, and because of all the collection money I had from the customers paying me for the newspapers, I always had lots of quarters in my pocket. So of course that meant a trip to the arcade where I fell in love with Donkey Kong. I wasn't a huge Pac-Man fan, but I really fell in love with Donkey Kong and then later on Galaga. And I decided eventually at some point it'd be good to put some of those quarters away and save up for the tabletop versions that had just come out. These came out from Coleco. So let's have a closer look at this game. So the first wave of Coleco tabletop arcade games that came out, they had Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian, Frogger, and of course my favorite at the time, Donkey Kong. They were pretty good build quality. They have a pretty good weight to them. The stickers were really nice. On my particular one here, I did try to clean it up a little bit, but there's still a little bit of discoloration on some of the stickers, discoloration of the plastic. I love the stickers inside beside the screens. Really nice job there. As far as graphics, let's just turn this on. It's pretty crude graphics. And in fact, Donkey Kong doesn't really play exactly like the original Donkey Kong. You only get two waves. You get the going up the I-beams, getting up, trying to get up to the top to save the girl while the gorilla throws the barrels at you. And then you get the other screen in Donkey Kong where you go across the girders and try to remove the rivets. And when all the rivets are all taken away, that's the completion of that level. We're going to show you that in a minute gameplay, but just a final look around. So you got your joystick here. It was a four-way joystick, spring action. This one's still in pretty good shape and a pretty good tactile sensation on the shooter button or the jump button. I only just realized when I opened up, when I found this game in my closet after having not played it for about 10 years, that my instructions for the game is actually in French. I never even realized that. Or maybe I did and didn't even really think about it too much at the time. These do take 4C batteries, and I was very happy when I opened it up to find that inside was all in good condition. There was no spoiled batteries, leaking batteries inside there. So everything is in perfect working order on this game. So let's have a little bit of gameplay action. You just have to ignore the flickering on the screen. There's actually nothing wrong with this game. If you saw the screen in person, you'd see that these lights are nice and solid. It's just the shutter speed of the camera is not in sync with the lights, the resolution or the frequency of the light shining. So you're getting that flickering. Anyway, before I start, I want you to see here that the sticker that I have on here is also in French, just like on the battery cover. So the start and the jump buttons in French, even though I'm in English-speaking Canada. Let's start up the game. So this level here is quite similar to the original Donkey Kong game, and that you're going to be climbing up the building. You can grab a hammer, but you can't use it. You can only just get points for it. And then I get up to the top, try to get the girl. I get my bonus points, but the girl is going to take the girl away. Now I go to the level in Donkey Kong, which is where you're walking along the I-beams and you're getting rid of these rivets that join the I-beams together. Again, I grab a hammer and I'm just going to get points for it. I won't actually get to use the hammer. So now I got a problem here. I gotta get this girder, these rivets here. There we go. There we go. We've completed all removing the rivets, and I get my bonus points. So that's basically it. You just basically go the same 2 levels over and over again. It just gets faster and faster. More barrels come down faster. The guys chasing you come down faster. And then when you get killed, this is what happens. Makes that sound. And that's it. All in all, taking a look at this game by today's standards, the graphics and even the sounds are pretty crude. However, since bringing this out in order to do a little bit of research for making this video, I have to admit I've been playing this game a lot. It really is a lot of fun because it holds that classic arcade experience where it's just simple tasks, but it gets harder and harder as it goes on. You're always competing for high scores. There's not a whole huge storyline like you see in today's games. So it has that classic arcade experience, a lot of fun. Now, before we take a look at the Galaga game, I just want to mention you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video so I can show you what these weird objects are. So the next game we're going to be taking a look at is Galaga. Now, Galaga came out originally maybe about a year, I think about a year after Donkey Kong. Galaga was kind of the sequel to Galaxian. Galaxian was more a primitive version of Galaga. Galaga added a lot more gameplay. So even though Donkey Kong and Galaga basically are from the same period, there is a 42-year difference between the tabletop versions of these games. And I just wanted to point out that on this particular version of Galaga by My Arcade, this is the Micro Pro version, you also get the game Galaxian. So you really get 2 games in one. Size differences between the two, as you can see, obviously the Galaga game is about 2/3 the size of the Donkey Kong game. But what I found playing it is that it doesn't hamper gameplay, even with, I have pretty big hands. I'm going to show you some gameplay in a little bit. It doesn't really hamper it being this small. Now, I just want to point out that there are 2 versions of Galaga from My Arcade. There's My Arcade Micro Galaga, which came out a few years ago. You're going to see it doesn't have all this green trim and that. It's just mostly black. The gameplay on that, I'm just going to show you that in a second. It's not quite 100% there as far as gameplay, sounds, that kind of thing. So this video footage is from someone else's review of the original Galaga tabletop game from My Arcade. Right off the bat, you can see that the orientation of the game is more horizontal. It's showing the high scores and how many ships you have left off to the right-hand side, where the original game has the high score right up at the top in the center, and how many ships you have left is in the bottom left-hand corner. So that's off right off the bat. The sounds, they don't sound exactly the way they should, especially when you hear crashes or music for the challenging stage. If this was the only thing available, I could probably tolerate it. But knowing that My Arcade has a real 100% proper version of Galaga, that's definitely the one that you're going to go for.
I'm really enjoying this, actually.
I mean, it looks all right.
It's not perfect, but...
Now, this version of Galaga from My Arcade is the Micro Player Pro. This is the version that you want. It has pretty much the identical ROM chip game ported over to this little tabletop version. The sounds are just like the original. The video, the graphics are pretty much like the original. It even has that original bug or hack, if you will, from the original game that came out in the early 80s, where if you knew how to do the trick, you could actually get this game to stop, for the bad guys to stop shooting at you, making the game much easier. Let me know in the comments if you know about that bug, and also let me know if you got this version of the game and if you tried to implement the bug yourself. Pretty cool. So let's have a take a look at some of the features here. So you have the controller here, the play button. Home button will allow you to switch between Galaxian, the original game, and its sequel, Galaga, which of course is what most people are going to be buying this for. You have an on-off switch here, as well as a volume up and down, little jack here if you want to put headphones on, play in private. You also have light dimming, so you can dim the screen or have it whatever brightness you want it. You can play it by inserting 4 AA batteries, or you can even use a USB-C cable. So let's have a look at some gameplay. Okay, so we'll turn on the game. So it starts up, it's going to go to the home screen. It's on the home screen where you can choose between Galaga or go back to Galaxian, the original game. One thing you might notice here is that the screen, if you're looking at it, the background kind of looks a little washed out. It's the only thing I don't like about this game. You have to kind of tilt it. Now you notice the background seems a lot darker that way. So depending on the angle that you're looking at the game, if you're looking straight down at it and sitting in a chair, it might look a little washed out. That's my only complaint about the game so far. So you can choose between Galaga and Galaxian by hitting the joystick. You can go down to Galaxian, but we're going to focus on Galaga for now. So in order to select Galaga, we'll just hit the fire button. So it's loading up the ROM. Looks pretty much like the original. Even the crash sound at the end. And there we have it. We got Galaga loaded up. Now I just want to show you over here in underneath the controls here. You've got this little credit button here, so that's like depositing quarters. So let's hit that now. You've got that familiar sound. Really cool. Like that. Okay, so we're only going to play a one-player game, and let's give this thing a little bit of action. It even shows you how many credits you have here. Yeah, like I said, everything sounds and looks exactly like the original. So hit one player. All right, here we go. So as you can see, even though the game itself is small, and I have large hands, large adult hands, I'm not having any issues at all controlling the game. It's not too cumbersome. All right, stage 2. I switch between whether or not I want to play with my finger. I am a little bit faster shooting with the finger as opposed to thumb. But I like to switch sometimes between the two just to give a little bit of a break to the other. Oh shoot, what did I do there? It's obviously been a while. Oh, I better make sure I get captured now. All right, good recovery. We got to get to the next stage, which is the challenging stage. All right. Whoop. I'm a little bit nervous. There we go. I'm not going to touch it. It's going to put me perfectly in the center for the challenging stage. There we go. And we got the free man. All right, perfect. So we got the full bonus there. I'm going to just allow myself to get killed here. I'm just to show you what the end of the game is like. Yes, I'm even going to throw away my free man. There we go. We're done. So as you can see at the top, I did get the high score. Shows you your hit-miss ratio. And then, of course, at the end, I can use the joystick to put my initials. And there we go. We are all set. So as promised, we're going to double back to looking at these things and what do they have to do with my Donkey Kong game. So unless you are familiar with these original Coleco games, you're probably wondering what the heck these things are. Well, these are actually Believe it or not, they call them battery substitutes. Permapower battery substitutes from Coleco. So the way these things used to work, to save you on buying batteries all the time, you would put these battery substitutes in. Just make sure we get it in the right polarity. Put these guys in here like this. And then you notice that one of these battery substitutes has the prong, the snap-on prongs, just like a 9-volt. So you'd snap that in, and then you'd plug the adapter into the wall. This was their way, instead of having a jack which you could plug into the back, it had these things, which is really kind of archaic, but it's pretty cool. And I'm really glad that I was actually able to find these. I've had these, like I said, just as long as the game, so that's 42 years. That's incredible. So there you have it, an interesting comparison of how you can have two games that originally came out in the same classic arcade period around 1982, and however, getting ported to whatever hardware that was available at the time. 1982, pretty crude graphics and sound, to 2024, pretty much identical to the full-size machine you would have had at the arcade back at the time. And the thing too is, it's pretty crazy. Like, I paid back in 1982 when I was 14, $55, and I had to save up for a few weeks just to get this. And $55 in 1982 is worth about $180 now in today's dollars. Whereas this here, which is, like I said, it's pretty much like identical to the original arcade game, I paid $40 Canadian for this. So, depending on whether you're United States or Canada, it might be anywhere between about $32 to $40. And you're basically getting the exact game from the arcade. Pretty mind-blowing where technology has come. Anyway, I hope you found this video fun and even helpful a bit. But thanks for watching.